Good morning, Australia.
Good afternoon, Texas.
How's things in your neck of the woods?
Oh, it's bright and early. No one's up. The sun's coming up over the mountains. No one's up
Good.
yet.
Sounds beautiful.
Oh,
When are you going
it is.
to when are you going to invite me over?
I have invited you so many times and you just won't come.
When am I coming? That's the real question is when am I
That's
coming?
right.
Well, you know what, Chris, on today's recording, when we spin the old globe around today, guess where it's going to stop?
Does it start with B?
Does it start with a B
Yeah.
on the globe?
Yeah.
It starts with an M, precious.
Well, that's a state, but what I'm talking about the city.
Oh, the city. Well, possibly, yeah. It would start with a B. Yeah, but so does our guest. Her name starts with a B. Yeah, yeah.
Yes.
I guess we ought to bring her on out because she is one of the backbones of IPA. She is a powerhouse teacher, and she's one of everybody's favorite. So do you want to announce our guest today?
We love her. She is Betty Sue O'Brien.
Betty Sue O'Brien. Yay!
Yay! Hello, everyone.
We are so excited to have you on Iridology Around the World.
Excited to be here.
Good.
Two of my favorite people.
Yeah, well, you're one of our favorites, and we can't imagine doing this without you. So we're really glad that you found the time for us and wedged us into your busy schedule.
Thank you. Thank you. I'm happy to be here.
Chris?
Betty Sue's been teaching this morning already.
Yes. Yes.
Yeah.
Yes.
So
She's constantly busy.
Betty Sue, I know the answer to this question is not going to be 3 years. How long have you been doing iridology?
Actually doing iridology, probably about 25 years.
Wow.
Yeah.
Awesome.
But actually my son, who's now 40, I took to an iridologist. So, and I learned a lot from her back then for my children, so.
Was that in Mississippi?
Yeah.
Cool.
She's a country lady and I got my raw goat's milk from her.
Awesome.
But she could read your eyes and give you herbs.
Yes.
She was
really
great.
good. Yeah. So what got you into iridology? I know you said you just took your son to an iridologist, but was it was she the inspiration behind that, or was your son the inspiration, or how did you get going?
Really it was Jeanette. Jeanette Shaw was a lady that had survived breast cancer back in the early 80s. And they took one of her breasts off at the hospital. And when the second breast got cancer, she said, I went there and I told them doctors, you keep what you got, I'm keeping what I got. And she went home and she had wheatgrass growing out of every pot in her house and out inside and out. And she was just an inspiration. And she just told me, she said, Betty Sue, you look into 500 sets of eyes and you will just know how to help those people. And she kept bugging me about it, giving me Dr. Jensen's brown eye slides or, whatever. And then Dr. Jensen came to town and that did it for me. He did a workshop in New Orleans, probably in the 90s sometime. So, and that's how, and then when I went out to summer school at the School of Natural Medicine, Farida Sharon, which many iridologists are familiar with her work, she was so far ahead of even iridology today. What I learned from her was all about the personality and the moods and the person and the feelings and the chakras and everything that had to do that we're now rediscovering again was my exposure. And I had to unlearn all that to learn practical iridology first. So sometimes you learn something, then you got to go back and really learn why and the basics. So I came to it backwards, but I was lucky enough to meet Mickey Jones. I went to her class and then I took my test. No one told me I could use my book. So I took my test without any books. And I was like, holy cow, you mean you people are using the book? And I was sweating it out. I mean, I thought I'm going to fail, but I passed. thank goodness. So
Yeah.
Great.
that was kind of my
So you learned
story.
from lots of teachers.
What?
You learned from lots of teachers.
Yes. Oh, yeah. I had a lot of good teachers, really a lot of good teachers. And also, I have to say that being a teacher, I was already teaching at a college my whole life. And so right away, I wanted to teach everyone about iridology. I mean,
Right.
I made up my own notebook. And I'll tell you, another influence for me was Brenda Generali, because way back in the 80s, she mailed out notebooks to anyone that was interested in iridology.
Wow.
And I still have Brenda's an old notebook where she went around the eye. She was very Dr. Jensen. And I think she gave them out. I don't even remember if we paid her $25 maybe back then or something. But she was very generous in just wanting to get people to learn. And of course, she's built a mega teaching platform from her early work. And so she was also a big influence.
Yeah.
Oh, great. That is great.
And she's one of IPA's great instructors at the moment.
Yes, she is.
Yeah.
Yes.
Mm.
Well, Betty Sue, I had no idea that you were there at that New Orleans class. I was at that same class, and that's
Yes.
where I saw Dr.
Oh.
Jensen. And
Don't you remember Dr. Jensen coming out and looking at the audience and just looking for the longest time? And he said, I love you. I mean,
Yeah,
just
yeah.
every person in the room, you felt like he looked straight at you.
Yes, absolutely. And I said on our first show, I said, I remember the first thing he said to us when he stood up out of his little wheelchair. You remember his
Yes.
wife wheeled him up to the stage,
I
and he
do.
stood there and he said, this will never leave me. It will never leave me. He said, doctors make a living by the way you choose to live. And I nearly fainted right then. I mean, I was
Yeah.
thinking that was just the most profound thing I'd ever heard in my life.
Well, I will share with y'all, I still have my spiral bound notebook from that
I do too.
weekend.
I
And
do
I have
too.
everything that man said, and it was chock full of wisdom.
Yes, absolutely. I do too.
Oh,
You'll never get
getting
the church.
chills.
You'll never get the church until you have the church in you. You know, it's just little things like that through the whole thing. It was just amazing.
Mhm. Mhm.
So great
Awesome.
teacher.
Yeah.
Yes.
Okay. So Betty Sue, I really want to know, what is your favorite iris sign?
Well, I like all the iris signs. I do really like Jules, because people think there's something bad, and it's always nice to, not necessarily look at it as something that's negative. But my favorite to work with, excuse me, y'all, my favorite to work with is the purely clean neurogenic eye. I love it when someone comes in and there's not a single mark. And you really have to hunt for the cause, of what's going on. And it's really interesting, because if you put that eye up in a class, everyone goes, oh, well, there's nothing to say. And then the more you talk about the issues of neurogenics and the possibility of them being type A, or, high anxiety or nervous system. And, then you start looking at the pupil shapes that go along with it. And you go, oh my gosh, we got the, the head, the neck, and the back, and the whatevers. And it's just fun, because it's not something that just jumps out at you.
Yeah.
And that's my favorite part of iridology. And I tell my students, it's the cause, it's the puzzle, it's getting to the cause, whether it's emotional, or which an emotional blockage is as big as a physical blockage. I mean, it's still a blockage there in the body. And so anyway, I think that's the one that when it comes up, I get really excited. And I'll tell y'all a little story. One time I had a guy, he's a local doctor, and he wanted me to come up to his office and read his eyes and his personal assistant's eyes. And like most doctors, he never offered to pay, at the time, as I recall. But I read his assistants and worked with him for like 45 minutes or an hour. And then I went over and I went into his office, just me and him, and I read his eyes. And he had a perfect clear eye, but he had a central heterochromia. And it wasn't real dark, but you could definitely see that there was a brown color, brown orange color. And I asked him 3 or 4 questions, very pointed about digestion, you know, about stomach acid, just different things. And he'd just go, mm-mm, 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 mm-mm. And I go, well, I guess there's really nothing else for us to talk about. And this was pretty early in my career, but I knew he had digestive issues. He was an anesthesiologist, so I was going to argue with this bright man, right? And so I got up to put my stuff in my bag and leave. And he said, well, aren't you going to give me anything for my digestion? And I said, well, you thought you didn't have anything wrong. And he said, well, but don't you want to prevent it? I said, well, of course we do, you know. But then as I worked with him, he had very serious digestive issues, you know, IBS and, you know, high strung. And I knew he was building a huge exercise building, you know, with all these doctors investing and all that. And I could see the stress and the colon and the whole thing. And he was just like in total denial until he wanted something to help himself.
Mhm.
And then he became someone that invited me to his pain clinic to photograph the eyes of all of his clients. And I did
Wow.
that for a couple of years. In fact, he bought my first iridology camera.
Wow.
Wow.
Yeah.
That's
So,
cool.
yeah.
Yeah.
So that was really, and he was a neurogenic. That was,
Yeah.
Mhm.
it was
Oh,
my
what a
early
great client to
lesson.
love.
Yes. In working with those kinds. So,
Yeah.
Yeah, sometimes you just have to dig a little deeper with them.
Yeah.
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 That's all. That's all.
And then another real quick favorite thing is that I had 3 kids with 1 blue eye, 1 brown eye, and 1 biliary. And when I learned iridology, and they were exactly the constitutional patterns, you know, especially my one with just the perfect eye that had so much anxiety. So it's been a great learning history.
Yeah.
Awesome.
Well, you know what? I'm going to take this time to kind of just do a little plug in, if you will, and then we'll play our little inquiring minds Q&A.
Okay.
But it was the 3 of us that really worked together to put IPA's level 3 course together.
Oh, yes.
And I will tell you that we've already taught some instructors. We have some more instructors to teach. But I personally worked with Betty Sue and Chris on a lot of issues pertaining to that material. And I think we got it honed down to a really classy presentation, where when we start teaching after first of the year, we're going to have a lot of students. We're going to see a lot of students want to bump up that level and take it into level 3 and just stick with that education. And I couldn't be more excited and delighted to have worked with you 2. It's just awesome.
And it was so much fun teaching with you all.
It was fun.
Even though it was midnight for me at the time.
It was fun.
I know.
I enjoyed it.
I told my husband that this morning, that when we taught, how, you know, I said, I don't think I could have done it. I don't know how I would have done it.
I was really surprised at how easy it was because we were having lots of fun. It was like midnight till 5 a.m. for 4 nights. But it was great. It was good fun.
It was.
Well, what it reminded me of working with y'all on that was just how much fun it is to be on the IPA board, you know, and be able to see the people and work with the people and really get to know your colleagues.
Yeah.
It's just like best friends.
Yeah. Well, I hope we can do it again.
Me too.
Soon. Well, okay, Betty Sue, that brings us to inquiring minds.
Oh.
So if you will pick a number between 1 and 36, we've got a question, and I don't know what the questions are going to be, and of course you don't, but we'll just read it and we'll all try to figure it out.
Okay. I think I'm going to pick 8. It's infinity, you know, so why not?
Yeah.
You know, that is exactly what Ellen Jensen said when she chose number 8.
Oh no, well, she's my
we've
Mississippi
changed the
twin.
question.
She was born in the same town as me.
You know what? And but we've got a new question. So after we get rid of a question, we find a new one. So this happens to be about red. Okay.
Okay.
So this is right up, all of us, we deal with it. So what it says is, my granddad was told he had a ring of determination in his iris. Is that why my mom says he's such a know-it-all and set in his ways?
Oh, I love that.
Love it.
Well, my mom had a ring of determination too. And I love those rings. My daughter's got a big ring of purpose, and believe me, she is a driven person. But, you know, I suppose the answer to the question then is yes. You know, the thing I can remember is the idea that someone with a ring of determination will have a drive for completion.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah.
I agree with
Absolutely. I mean, these people with the rings, with the circular rings, they just have a list and they just want to do things, and they do know it all. They do have, you know, that they believe that they, you know, that they have a purpose, and they're going to go there and get it, and they're going to cross things off their list, and you know, you don't get in their way. But what they need to learn is to slow down. So
Right.
they probably have lots of flower people and people rings of harmony to help them get balanced and slow down and smell the roses, because sometimes they'll just walk past the roses.
Absolutely.
Yeah,
Absolutely.
I think they bring a lot to the table with their wisdom. They've been here a long time. You have to kind of overlook that know-it-all attitude, or you know, that those hard-headed ways, but they do contribute a lot. And if people will sit down and listen to them and look past that know-it-all atmosphere that they bring into the room, you're liable to learn something.
Absolutely. And if you want to hire someone for your business, you want to hire someone with a ring of determination.
Yes.
Yeah.
Because they're going to get it done.
Yeah. Yeah, they will. Yeah.
Exactly. And you know, that until I read it's Jenny Johnson's book, you know, What the Eyes Reveal, I never even knew about the rings, you know, but when you think of, I just think of a bell ringing, you know, and where does it stop? You know, is it that white ring or that brown ring, or is it the contraction furrows, you know, but it's sort of like it's a vibration. And then you get kind of stuck in that vibration, and it's hard to get out.
Yeah.
Very
absolutely.
Good.
Oh, that was good.
I know
Good
that
question.
ring because they're interruptive. See, and I'm very interruptive, and I have to go.
We love to hear from you anytime.
Yep.
Don't stop the flow. Don't stop the flow.
Yeah.
You're not supposed to do that.
Nope.
Well, Betty Sue, this has just been enlightening. I love this.
Thank you very much. Thank you for inviting me.
We're
Yeah,
so
we
happy
loved
to
it.
have you.
I'm glad y'all are doing this. It's very exciting.
Yes, we want
And we've got some really cool people coming along from all around the world. We're trying to get people from every part of the world.
So now, how do people get to see this?
Well, we're on a YouTube channel, and we're on my website, which is universaliridologyacademy.com. My Facebook page is Iridology Fusion. And then Chris shares that on his page. And you'll be able to share that on your page.
Okay. Yeah. And I know I went and liked it, but it just hasn't, you know how it doesn't come up? You know, I have to go looking for it. So I will do that though, better. I'll be better at it.
We're going to try to get it out there and make it a little bit more available. But I'm finding out now that it's getting around. And that's really exciting. So we're reaching more and more iridologists. And Chris and I have a whole gaggle of people that we're going to invite.
So many good ones. I can't wait to hear them all.
Yeah, yeah.
And I just did a talk for the Guild of Naturopathic Iridologists in England, and there were so many new iridologists around the world. It's just growing and growing. It's awesome to see.
Yeah, I love it. You know, I told you I tried to join that, and I couldn't get the website to work because I wanted to see y'all, but I'll keep trying and go back, and maybe I can join and catch it. Is it available? Your talk?
Yeah, there'll be a recording. Yeah.
Okay. All right. Good deal.
Cool.
All right.
Thank you so much.
Well, we appreciate
Thank you.
that. And so with that, I'm going to say good night, Mississippi. Well, good afternoon, Mississippi. Good morning, Australia.
I
Thank
better
you,
go and wake up my
guys.
kids to catch the bus.
There
Thank
you
you.
go. All right.
Bye-bye.
We'll see you again.
All righty. Take
All
care,
right.
guys.
Bye-bye.
Bye.